and roll.
Sounds good. Hey guys.
Hey, Rocco.
All
Good
right.
afternoon. Good afternoon.
Greetings. Yes. Well, it's morning for you, but
Good
greetings and
morning to you.
welcome to the final session of the mock selection committee. We will be doing the final couple of seed lines that we didn't get to on Friday night. Obviously, some things have changed around the bubble, so I'm kind of okay with the fact that we didn't get to all those seeds. We will then go back and scrub briefly the top lines. We're not going to get too crazy with it, just the kind of glaring things, such as Florida will surely leapfrog Connecticut for that top one seed, and probably some other things. And then we'll do the actual bracketing. I've got the spreadsheet ready to go with all the distances and everything in there, so that'll be the fun part. Maybe we can create some made for TV matchups like John Shire versus Nolan Smith. But if you guys have the voting sheet, you guys can go on in there. We've got these 8 teams will be voted on to join Clemson, Georgia, Iowa, and St. Louis, who are in holding. Now, just because St. Louis is there doesn't mean they're going to finish anywhere near the top of this next vote, but that's where we were at the end of Friday night. I'm going to throw up the spreadsheet now and try not to throw up before we get into these
Yeah, I
bubble
wasn't sure where
teams.
you were going with that one. I thought you meant throw up with all the results yesterday.
I'm going to vomit so hard. All right, I think we are good there. Yes. And appreciate anyone and everyone who has donated a little bit to us thus far. If you're able to feel so inclined, Venmo Graham a little bit, and we'll split it at the end of this whole endeavor. If nothing else, you can buy me a Guinness. I'm almost out. So, like I said, it'll be Georgia, Clemson, Iowa, and St. Louis are already through on this vote. And we're looking at, what is it? Missouri, NC State, TCU, UCF, UCLA, Utah State, Miami, Ohio, and who's the other one? Texas? Ohio State. Ooh. Clicking all sorts of tabs. And I mean, we can discuss any or all of this, but we're not going to reintroduce teams by any stretch of the imagination like we had been doing. Um, we'll gradually get the rest of the bubble into the mix here. But I do think
So this is
Miami, Ohio. Go ahead.
this is a seeding vote, correct? We've already selected these teams.
That is correct.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. Yeah. So we selected 50 teams on Thursday night. So in theory, all of the at-larges plus the first 4 out. When we get down to doing that final seeding vote, we will revisit the last couple of teams in. I think Oklahoma, Stanford, maybe one other, little bit more interesting now than they were before, but we don't need to talk about them right here on the 8 seed line by any stretch of the imagination.
My only thought is TCU looks even better after beating Cincinnati and knowing so many of these teams lost over the weekend. So TCU really stands out compared to when we last met.
Yep. I was going to say the same about Miami, Ohio. Like, I know we're seeding is a little bit different than selection. We all certainly select them. Maybe we'll seed them pretty low, but boy, after every single bubble team lost yesterday, how can you possibly argue for Miami, Ohio being left out? Got to consult my own seed list here. Where are we at? There we go. After I was saying the other day that I'm lower than all you guys on UCLA, all of a sudden, I love them.
Yeah, a couple blowouts, and all of a sudden their power numbers look pretty.
Yep.
And with TCU, it's like a week and a half ago, we had no idea what to do with them, and now they're just like the most beautiful belle of the ball.
Yep. Well, like I said, it also helps you climb when everybody else around you falls off a cliff.
Yeah. Life comes at you fast on the bubble, both directions.
And TCU in theory,
They've
I mean, they got Kansas on potentially on Thursday. They can move even more. Another quad 1A win.
Yeah, they got to beat them in Kansas City too. That's basically a road game.
Well, it should be in the first time, really.
Yeah, they had them. They had them.
I got to start voting Matt's way and just pick my least favorite team first. Took me a minute. I had to like redo it a couple times. Like, no, I haven't. They need to be lower than that.
All right, I have to just change a couple things. I'll be done in a sec here, guys.
Should tweet this out. Be a good idea. There's Graham already tweeting. I don't know. Graham's parenting. I know that much.
He had one out a little bit ago, about 30 minutes ago.
I just sent one with all of us tagged and the.
That's
All
what I was
right,
going to say. I was
actually-
just waiting for your link, and then I'll send it out.
Well, you could have told me that. I was busy doing my intro and such.
It's phenomenal.
We do have some questions in the chat. Mr. Skurs getting excited for this Nebraska game. I agree. That'll be a good one. They could maybe still get in the mix for a 2 after Purdue lost. I don't know. We'll see what happens with Michigan State and Illinois. Not that they're playing each other, but they play today. South Florida at large with how bad the bubble is, from Alex from Florida. I wouldn't hate it, but I don't see it happening.
They would probably have to lose. They'd probably have to lose to Tulsa in the championship game, and if that happens, it's on Sunday.
It's not,
And that's the problem. So just bad timing. Move that tournament up 1 week, and they'd have a real chance, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they pretty much have to decide that they were already in.
Right.
Yeah.
Which
And
I guess
they're
depending
not
on what
gonna
else
impress.
happens this week, that could happen.
True.
All right. We've got
Just not a big enough win to get in the first 2 rounds for South Florida to change anybody's mind.
They would have to have some another Saturday like this during the week where all the other bubble teams around them just exit early.
There's too many in the ACC. Somebody has to win in the ACC. A couple of them are going to play each other. That's the problem. Otherwise, yeah.
I saw.
Plus, we all figured out, Rocco, that we're probably going to lose at least 2 spots, and just on average. I mean,
Mountain West is going to take. Yep, I'm pretty confident on that.
The way St. Louis is playing, I'm not so sure. They're not a clear favorite anymore to win the A10 either. So
also,
right,
like Akron is
they're the favorite
to win the MAC at this point.
Yeah, two-bid MAC
wins.
is in play. It's in play for sure.
Yeah, we could use it.
All right, we've got UCLA, TCU, Utah State, and Texas A&M joining Clemson, Georgia, Iowa, and St. Louis. This next vote will be to determine who our 8 seeds are in order. Again, we already had these teams as the holdover teams. St. Louis being in this vote doesn't necessarily mean they're anywhere close to the conversation anymore. Not to sway anything, but things got a little bit uglier for them. Wow, Roll Tide Rewind says Graham DM'd him earlier and said he'll be putting Alabama as the number 8 overall seed. Graham, that's very generous of you to help out Alabama.
What a nice guy.
Ironically, even after the really nice win yesterday, I ended up moving them down. Just on second glance, I looked at Kansas 6-5 against Quad 1A, and then Alabama has a losing record against Quad 1A. Gonzaga, who they lost to on a neutral court, is also just 1-2 against Quad 1A with a loss to Portland. So I ended up kind of reversing my order from entering the weekend just for that reason.
I'll say it's impressive how often on second glance you find positive things about Kansas and or Virginia Tech.
I get you, but once we get to the top, it's like Dave talks about, right? It's these wins that really stand out. And I think even Alabama's win against Tennessee isn't quite standing out the same way now that Vanderbilt, the team that couldn't beat anybody at the top of the SEC, goes in to Knoxville and gets a win against the Nate Emmett-less Tennessee. So I think that could be important.
Yeah, my biggest problem with Alabama is they've just been way too good without Bediako. I thought they were screwed without him, but they looked pretty good without him yesterday.
You notice
Just kidding. That was a sarcastic
yeah,
comment
I
there.
know. So Auburn's potential path to the semifinals would be Tennessee, probably without Nate Ament, and then Vanderbilt, who I think we all agree is the least great
Yeah.
of the 4 SEC teams. So that path is still possible.
Are we convinced though that Auburn
Their
needs
path
to win
to
3? I feel like Auburn only maybe needs to win 2.
Yeah,
I think their
it's
path
2.
I think their path to 16 losses is more important, but maybe I'm old school.
Yeah.
No, I agree.
I mean, it's just what you're doing is you're setting a new precedent if they get
Yeah.
in now without winning it.
100%.
Which I'm not
And
going to
the
say
two
it couldn't
games-
happen. There's always the first time it's got to happen, but I don't think I'd bet very much on that.
And the 2 games over 500 precedent as well is at stake.
Yeah, that's what they would need 3 wins for to get to 19 and 16 to beat that. But still, they'd be the only 16-loss team ever getting in.
If anybody's breaking precedent, that's the hardest part. Is because if anybody's breaking precedent, it's going to be SEC stuff. And I'm just, it's only been a couple of years where they've had this much power, but it's already worn on me quite a bit. I mean, the Texas thing, I still can't stomach it from last year.
Yeah, there have been 4 15-loss teams that got in. They were all SEC teams, and none of them were in Dayton. They were all
but
comfortably in.
The first couple I can understand, like Colin Sexton, Alabama, they beat like 3 number 1 seeds. So I was like, they're pretty darn good when they
that Vanderbilt team like beat Florida 3 times or whatever.
Yeah, those 2 were like very reasonable. But now it's getting weird. Now they want Oklahoma to be in the conversation. Get out of here.
Come on. Yeah, no way.
Cardinal Dave bracketology. Auburn lost at Mississippi State. It's not unthinkable they lose in game 1. I'm here for that. That would be
100%.
fantastic. Just get them out of here. Scotty Too Hottie asks, why doesn't Purdue drop after losing over and over? And we talked about that on Friday. It's like, no matter what, we can't quit Purdue. We'd love to. Like 5 home losses. I want to drop them, but best I could do was 12 overall.
Yeah, I moved them to 13 overall today, so they are a seed drop for me. But obviously, more basketball to come.
Yeah. Well, I wanted to scrub them from 12 to 13, but I have Alabama at 13 and Purdue 1 at Alabama, so that's a pretty tough one.
Yeah, well, they beat Texas Tech too on a neutral badly. They killed them, but I think there's a good argument for Kansas and Gonzaga to go above Purdue.
I do too. I keep looking at, and I know I hate it. I really personally hate it. I keep looking at those metrics for Purdue, and they are still so good. I just have a hard time seeing the committee dropping them when they have that road win at Alabama. They won at Nebraska. Like, they have the road wins to back it up. I personally would want them to be somewhere on the 4 line, but I'm, predicting what I think the committee is going to do, really hesitant to drop them off the back end of the 3 line.
Yeah.
I think we've seen Purdue play enough teams now at the top that we kind of got a good idea who they are and who they aren't. And I don't know. I think at a certain point, like couple of the committee members I talked to at the end of last year, sometimes it just comes down to who do you think would win. And I think if you go Kansas or Gonzaga against Purdue, I just feel like they would probably agree those 2 teams would beat Purdue right now. But again, it's still a guess. Doesn't mean I'm right.
Anthony and Dave, Anthony and Graham, we're waiting on you guys to vote. Got a couple more comments from the chat. Where are we at here? Will the selection committee evaluate that Oklahoma hasn't been the same since the Lloyd Noble popcorn machine fire? Bram Janvrin asks, is Northern Iowa most likely a 13 or 14? We were talking about that a little bit beforehand. I think they're more of a 12-13 bubble than a 13-14 bubble. Even though they were the 6th seed, they were the 6th seed in the Valley, but they were probably the 2nd best team. They just took too many losses in league play.
Yeah, I just put a tweet out there, 21-6 in games where Tristan Smith was available. He's a key part of winning both defensively and part of their offensive system. They were clearly a different team when he was out. 2-6 without him. That's when they hit the wall in league play and screwed up their chances to get a bye. But they were pretty tremendous. I was at the game when they played at St. Mary's. They probably should have won the game. They outplayed St. Mary's in their building, and it's a good team, really good team. And I think this morning before tip-off, they were top 75 Ken Palm. So,
Yep.
I mean, there's a lot to like with Northern Iowa, in my opinion.
Yeah. Well, it also comes down to whether, whether
Wilmington's about to lose. That'll help. So,
Yeah. Although I had Hofstra winning that one anyway. Go Cruz Davis, baby.
Campbell's winning it all now. Roll humps.
All right, we got
Wilmington down by 13, under a minute left. I think they're going to the NIT, guys.
Takeo Siddle already accepted a new job. He's moving on, ready to roll.
No, he signed a 5-year extension like 2 days ago.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
Well,
but doesn't mean that yeah. And maybe that's a good thing because he's not going to win this tournament this year.
All right, we ended up with Georgia, Clemson, UCLA, and TCU as our 8 line. I'm going to immediately propose that we scrub Georgia and Clemson because of the head-to-head that Clemson won, but I don't know if you guys care enough.
I think we might be looking at Georgia moving up to the 7 line when we go scrub the whole thing. So I don't know that I'm in favor of that one.
Valid. All right. Okay. You guys go ahead and chit chat, and I'll rearrange some things here. Not on the seed list, on our.
Yeah. I mean, I think if, whether McNeese or Austin win that, if either one of them does, then I think that's probably a 12 seed. So Northern Iowa could fit on the back of that, particularly if Yale loses or South Florida loses.
Georgia is an interesting profile, though. I feel like in 1 week, they all of a sudden look a lot better to me than they did the entire season.
I hated Georgia's profile all season long because of what they did in non-conference play, but here they are. All right. We'll do one more vote here. This will determine our 9 seeds, and then we'll reintroduce some other teams to the mix. So what was it? Georgia, Clemson, UCLA, TCU got through that previous vote. So now we're looking at Iowa, St. Louis, Missouri, NC State, UCF, Utah State, Miami, Ohio, and Texas A&M. Although I think Ohio State's probably more so in that conversation, but this is where we were at previously. We'll probably end up with Ohio State as our top 10, and maybe we can scrub them up a little bit from there. This is what happens when you try and cram all of the procedures into a hurry.
Final 85-70. Campbell, semifinals. Nice. John Andrzejczyk never lost a postseason game, baby.
You guys remember like 2008 or 9 or whatever it was when Bradley played Pitt and the box score said Brad Pitt up at the top?
Yeah.
I got to laugh up at the top of the Winthrop High Point game. We've got Quack Kark. Quack is up 20 over Kark. Or 2015.
Just talking about Georgia real quick. I was just looking this up as I was curious how low they are in terms of the non-conference schedule with the actual projected field. Can you guess the 4 lowest rated non-conference schedules in our projected field today? Curious. Georgia is one of them.
Nebraska has to be there.
Ohio.
Yeah.
Miami, Ohio's at the top.
Georgia's 4th, Nebraska's 3rd. So you're missing the 2 lowest.
Miami of Ohio.
Texas.
Well, I wasn't counting Miami, but I guess yes. Sorry.
No, you're good.
2 others.
Texas in there?
Nope.
No. Missouri?
No. Strangely. One actually might be right outside of our field, but I'm counting them in this because they're close enough for the discussion.
Cal?
Yep, Cal's the worst at 328.
That's why they're
That's
pretty
why
far
they're
out
out.
for
Brutal.
me.
Yeah, exactly.
Even
But
though they swept.
there's another team that actually becomes a little more interesting now. That's pretty damn close to Cal.
Florida
You think
State.
SMU.
No,
Stanford?
Stanford,
Oklahoma.
yeah, Stanford.
No, strangely enough, St. Louis,
Oh,
318th,
Yeah.
which obviously maybe a different scheduling consideration, but yeah, so
Mhm.
Georgia's fourth lowest of the entire projected field, if you don't include Miami,
Which I do.
294th.
Those games against Precipia don't count either for the Billikens.
Against Avila.
That's true. That's true. That's actually true.
That was my favorite. We've done like 40 hours worth of podcasts, but I'll remember that one. And also comparing Boise State's loss to Hawaii Pacific to Michigan's loss to Wisconsin. That was best. Scotty Tuhati says, let's say Iowa loses today against Nebraska, which is more than feasible, and their first tourney game, which that would be bad because I think they are projected to play either Maryland or Oregon. Are they out? That is early enough that it will factor in. I think that's Wednesday at like noon.
Which team?
Iowa.
No, they're not out.
I think 31 hours ago or so, I would have been more willing to consider that, but the bubble got so bad yesterday that I don't know if Iowa can drop out at this point.
Yeah, who's going to replace them? I mean, there's nobody really there.
They've
Right.
done it. They've done enough too. They didn't lose that many stupid games. They've at least had a high floor. They just missed most of their opportunities. We'll see if they can win the Corn Bowl again.
All right. Graham, it's just you and me voting, although Graham's muted and video off, so he's probably dealing with a 4-year-old and a
Sorry, I'll
6-year-old
get the
fighting
vote
with each
in. Give
other.
me 20
There he
seconds.
is.
I mean, does it almost feel like there's really only 4 teams that could maybe move into the field at this point? It just feels so thin.
If even 4, I don't even know if there's 4.
I'm not even, that might be generous. I don't remember a Selection Sunday in recent memory,
Yeah.
or at least a week leading up to Selection Sunday, where it felt like you get to like fourth out, and you're like, I don't even know if anyone beyond this has actually even. I'm gonna put an X4 out, but I don't even think any of them can make it.
Well, the
I
bubble's such
start.
this year that it's going to be the teams. I mean, if there's bid thieves, it's who's going to be left out if there's bid thieves. That's my biggest thing I'm looking at with the bubble.
Yeah. Well, that's why I'm kind of hoping for bid these. I think it actually makes the whole thing a lot more interesting this year.
Agreed.
Of
Yeah.
any years, to have, I would love to see 3.
I
That'd
have
be
to
fantastic.
start working on my like 68 team power rankings. Like I've done probably half of them already. And usually I end up writing about 80 slides because I'm worried that like, man, there's like 12 teams because I might do 69 this year. I don't know. Like
You actually get to bed early
there's
this week,
just
Terry. That's
not
good.
much. Yeah. 9 seeds.
Maybe we get a 4-bid WCC with the Dons knocking off Gonzaga, and then the Dons beating Santa Clara in the final. What do we think about that, Rocco?
I would. That'd be
That probably
heavenly.
leaves Santa Clara out of the mix.
They better get a
No,
couple
San
players.
Francisco over
They
Santa
better get a
Clara.
couple.
Oh,
They better
gotcha.
get a couple players in time for Monday. I mean,
Yeah.
they could beat the Beavers with this team, but they're gonna need some new guys by tomorrow.
Well, they can take Portland's roster. Portland did it.
We'll take Foxball. We'll take Foxball on the Dons. He's pretty good. He's getting a huge bag to go to what, Tennessee? I heard he had a Zoom with Tennessee the other day.
I mean, the other thing too.
He's got a brother too.
He's got 2 brothers. He's got his the old brother's going to LSU next year for a lot of money, and then the young one's going to be a freshman for Portland next year. So we get another Foxball on the pilots. They got a little pipeline going, but they only get him for 1 year.
We have a tie between Texas A&M and St. Louis for the 3rd and 4th spots. Let's just put it to a hand vote. Well, not even hand. Just say who you prefer. Anthony, A&M or St. Louis.
I'm gonna go with St. Louis.
I guess I could just look at the
Well,
ballots. Yeah, it'll be 4-2 in favor of St. Louis. It's just that Graham really dropped St. Louis.
That'd be a fun game if they played each other.
Yeah.
High octane.
I have a feeling we will be scrubbing Ohio State ahead of both of these teams anyway. But let's move on. So that's the new group of 4, our 9 seed line: Utah State, Iowa, St. Louis, and Texas A&M. So we will have Miami, Ohio, Missouri, NC State, and UCF holding over. And we will introduce 8 more teams to the conversation. Let's see who those are. Ohio State, Texas, Santa Clara, SMU, though I don't know that they really belong here, VCU, Virginia Tech. Oh, it is getting ugly fast. Indiana, and New Mexico. I don't know that New Mexico belongs there either. Do we want to discuss putting anybody else in there instead? We do still have Cal and Auburn both on the list as well, from who was selected on Thursday.
I want to subtract people from the list, not add them.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, one thing I just want to say real quick. I mean, I don't know if there's any team who's had a better day all season while not playing than VCU did yesterday. I mean, if you could have scripted, hey, I want everything around me to just crater, it happened. It's like you really couldn't script it any better than that. But I still think the way the Rams bracket sets up, so I think George Mason, correct me if I'm wrong if anybody's looked at this, but I think George Mason, Dayton, and St. Louis are all on the other side, which is actually very advantageous for them, but also potentially not so advantageous. I mean, I think they still have to win 2 games. And if they win 2 games and everything else stays equal, I feel very good about them being in the field. Obviously, I assume everything else is not going to stay equal around them. But they're going to probably have 2 quad 3 games leading into the A10 final. So I think it's still a must for them to go 2 more.
All right, we'll do this vote. The top 4 from this will then join Miami, Ohio, Missouri, NC State, and UCF. That will be our 10 line, and then we'll go back and decide if we want to put Oklahoma, Stanford, anybody else in the mix for that final little bit.
CBS Sports AI was coming in big with that Oklahoma 5-out entering the weekend call. I didn't see that one coming.
They can be 1 out or 24 out as long as they're out.
When I look at Oklahoma, I still see quality big wins. I get it, but they just haven't done enough for the totality of the schedule. Like if we're talking about teams that ended up 1 or 2 games, 3 games underneath 500 against quads 1 and 2, no bad losses. Like I'll take that team all day, every day over somebody who had so many opportunities and just hasn't done much with it.
But I think they're 1 and 9. The same thing we said about Texas last year, though. That's the challenge.
I mean, Texas had 7 quad 1 wins, though. I think, and their quad 1 wins were better quad 1 wins because it was a tougher, top-notch SEC last year.
Just mentioning that I'm throwing in the projected and or actual auto bids from the other 22 leagues at this point for 47 through 68 nobody pushed back against my suggestion from before we even started doing this a couple days ago. We just took the average metrics of the highest seeded remaining team in each tournament. I guess we'll have to remove UNC Wilmington though. But I can give that a quick scrub, but that's what it would have been as of this morning. So we're just filling in these last 10 spots for now, and then I'll mark UNC Wilmington so I remember to remove them.
College of Charleston's next highest remaining seed out there, but they themselves have a tough game today.
Yeah, I would personally
that league's awesome.
There.
I love that league this year.
I'll admit I was a little disappointed how good Auburn looked in comparison to where I thought they'd be looking at the bubble this morning. They are still right there if they make like it doesn't even have to be a run in the SEC tournament. They win a couple games there, that could be enough.
I really think if they win 2, they're in a good spot. Bafflingly enough. Now, obviously, we're not factoring in the how many bid steals are going to come into play there, but I struggle to believe that the committee is not going to give them the benefit of the doubt if push came to shove, even though they should.
If they aren't just pushed out because of the 16 losses, they're probably going to find their way in, disgustingly enough. All right. Sorry, I was rearranging things. I'll get my vote in here, and then we will have our 10 line.
Well, here's hoping they're not listening to this. Jeez.
Who's that? The selection committee?
Yes, they can turn this on anytime. They might turn it on during their lunch break next week.
Hell yeah.
So they're gonna play the replay.
Yeah, it's forever out there now. You guys got to own those words.
Ready? I don't want them in. I'm just.
No. They have no business even being on the planet of being in. But I understand the metrics and stuff are different these days. They have a shot to get into the top 40 of WAB, but that's just because they're in the SEC.
Yeah, what really strikes
They were
me,
awful last night. They had a winner go home game and they were absolutely disgusting. Not competitive. They made the final score look decent, and that was all with garbage time. They were getting destroyed, like hammered in a do or die game against a rival. Get out of here.
I mean, they looked horrible last night. I know this final score gets a little bit closer, but they legit at one point looked like they didn't know how to play basketball. It was crazy.
And they looked like that when they lost at home to Ole Miss.
Yeah.
Which is really the reason why they shouldn't be considered.
Yeah, I mean, the other thing about Auburn is if this is not North Carolina from last year where they could compete with top teams, but they played so many top teams. Auburn's just not competing in most of these games. It's the road win at Florida is the only thing that makes you just kind of pause and say, I really can't eliminate them until I know they've taken too many losses to be considered.
Florida's only loss in the last 2 months. That's going to carry so much freaking weight.
Which is
we
so
do have
stupid.
a tie.
It's so stupid because one game's more important than 15 losses or 16
Right.
losses. Get out of here. I mean,
we have a tie between Santa Clara and VCU, who in my head, I've been saying all season long they played each other, but they didn't. I don't know why I think that. Just VCU played everybody in this conversation except for Santa Clara.
yeah.
Let's put it to a vote, although it looks like it's a 50-50 split. Anybody want to make a case in either direction?
VCU has looked more competitive in their losses to the top teams they've played. I personally think that's enough to get VCU over Santa Clara.
The one common, so in the actual committee room, common opponents will show up on their sheets. We don't have that here, but they both did play St. Mary's, and Santa Clara, of course, went 1-1. VCU lost. Just throwing that out there.
Yeah, I would probably lean towards Santa Clara just because they beat Santa Clara, but which is probably a better win than
VCU has. Yeah, St. Mary's, you mean? Yeah.
Well, Santa Clara beat themselves a lot this year too.
Yeah, at least VCU doesn't
once.
have that.
Twice, actually. They should have beat ASU. You're right, Graham. Santa Clara definitely should have beat ASU. They blew that game.
But I don't
Well,
have a
just
strong opinion one way or the other right now.
Just in the interest of
Neither do
time,
I.
I will flip my vote. I had VCU ahead, so I'll just flip them, and it'll be Santa Clara VCU. Okay.
I do hope those two teams find a way in. I think they've earned it.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that should be Texas, not Texas A&M. No, stop it.
Your hay in the barn thing, though, Rocco. Like, I don't love for Santa Clara that if they've got that final loss, it's fully considered before we
It is
committee room.
Yeah, nothing wrong with losing to St. Mary's a second time, but they definitely got to beat Pacific today.
Wait a minute. No, I screwed this up. That's not our 10 line.
But yeah, if they beat St. Mary's in the semis, then obviously they're sitting pretty good, really good.
I think
that
if
was
they
the
beat St.
vote
Mary's,
decided.
I can't I really can't see a way they drop out absent like
Yeah, same.
runs a bit thieves, other teams going just absolutely crazy on the bubble. That should pretty much wrap it up.
Yeah, you would think conventionally.
I don't even know if the bid thieves would catch him at that point, Graham. I think
Bid
they'd have-
thieves get automatic bids.
I think they have enough clearance. No,
I mean, I would say that, but like I think when you add the bid thieves plus, all of a sudden you're talking like think about the paths, right? If Virginia Tech beats Wake Forest and they beat Clemson and they beat North Carolina, and if Auburn, like you can add those teams up.
true.
You never know.
Hey, when California beats Duke, you better watch out.
Oh boy, that's chaos. We're rooting for clarity, Rocco.
Hey, I was at the Cal Duke game when it was here, and Cal had the lead at halftime, but it was all downhill from there.
All right, before we dive into another vote, I jumped the gun. That was not our 10 line. That was to join Miami, Ohio, Missouri and company. And then that vote will determine our 10 line. If you want to go ahead and vote on that, and I'll get to the chat here. RFB Baseball asked, does Stanford have a path to an at-large? I think so. I'm not looking at their ACC tournament draw, but I know they're close. They're definitely one of those conventional bubble teams that got a couple of really nice wins and a couple of hideous losses. And I think
So they get Pitt to open, which is
yeah.
obviously just a survival game. And then they'll get NC State at noon on Wednesday, which all of a sudden has a really interesting double bubble connotation to it.
to face Virginia then. Is that
Yeah, and then the winner of that gets Virginia. That's right.
yeah.
So
Yeah,
I think if they win three, I think they are. Well, again, it depends on a lot of things, but they could be in a pretty good spot.
Yeah.
I struggle with them. I know they've still had some decent wins. I'm just not sure how they're going to look at that injury because I think they're still what I have to look back, but I think they're 7-8 or 8-7 since
They
then.
definitely fell apart once Akpara got hurt, but they've
and
rallied lately.
They fell apart. I think they're either one game above 500 or one game below, but they've had a couple of decent wins. And also I think I mentioned this the other day. He was here. Akpara played during their quad three losses. Like he played. So it's like, how do you really, I mean, how do you weigh that? They were 13-4 I think, when he got injured, but he lost. He was there when they lost their worst losses. So it's kind of interesting.
Yeah, I've been to a handful of Stanford games. I was at the UNLV loss, actually, one of those bad ones. Lost by 1 point. But, once he went down, they obviously went through a couple weeks of readjusting their team and how they're going to run offense. And now it's finally clicked with 4 straight at the end. That's just the evolution of it. They're still not a dominant team, but I mean, Kyle Smith's such an amazing coach that they're in these games and finding ways to win if it's close, like yesterday's game. So, yeah, I think you just got to judge them straight up, is my personal opinion on Stanford. But and I just was staring at the bubble for a while last night before finally crashing. And I mean, if you just do the exercise and you just pretend for a second that SMU and Virginia Tech are in, even though they probably both wouldn't get in together. Stanford's 6-6 against the field. That's really freaking good compared to nobody's close to 6 wins like that. So maybe if you want to go up to Missouri, they have 5, but I mean it's a lot of wins against the field. They just beat NC State on the road yesterday, so that's your most recent performance. That's pretty compelling based on what else we have to look at. And they cracked the top 50 at WAB, I saw it today. 49th, I think. So for the WAB lovers, they checked that box.
The WAB lovers,
Yeah, they
which
are
is
49th,
the selection
you're right.
committee.
38th in KPI.
Yeah, KPI's loved them throughout. I think they were, yeah. But it's the 6 wins. They won at Virginia Tech on the road, won at NC State on the road, beat St. Louis in a miracle, but it's still a win. And then North Carolina, Louisville, SMU at home. Those are like who on the bubble has that list of wins? It's interesting.
Yeah, when I look at Stanford, my biggest challenge I have is they have 7 losses to teams outside the field too.
Yeah, it's a big challenge.
Yeah.
It's a lot to look at.
I.e.,
They're the new
i.e.
TCU.
the
They're the
bubble
new
cut line.
TCU.
There we go.
Yeah.
6-7, 6-7.
Honestly, if I had to choose now with no bid stealers, I'd probably put Stanford as the last team in. If I had to choose, I don't want to choose, so I'm going to leave 2 open spots. But if I had to choose, I'm giving the spot to a Mountain West team in tomorrow's post because it's actually more logical than picking one of these bubble teams.
Yeah.
If you take out the head-to-head with Stanford and Vodtech, I mean, Stanford has the quad 3 losses where Vodtech's pretty clean, but then Stanford's got a winning record versus quad 1 and 2. Virginia Tech doesn't. They both have 2 quad 1A wins. And metric-wise, resume-wise, it's very close. Predictives, it's Vodtech by a little bit. But I can see your point, Rocco. Like, why not Stanford, I guess?
Yeah, and usually road wins carry the day, and them winning at VTech and NC State across the country on the road, whereas VTech's got the good one at Clemson, but after that, their next best road win Syracuse and South Carolina. So
no love for West Virginia.
What was that, Dave?
No love for West Virginia in that same discussion with Stanford?
I don't think so. I know the wins are there for some good wins are there for West Virginia, especially at home. But
I'm not gonna lie to you, you're kind of talking me into Stanford. I wasn't so sure. I thought they'd be in the mix, but you're kind of talking me into it.
They've grown on me a lot. Like, I stared at it for way too long last night, but maybe that's good for this discussion.
I have them right behind Cal, and I'm sure you guys can figure out why.
Yeah, Cal swept them, and I think the only argument there for Stanford is the non-conference strength of schedule. Because if you go off history, Cal doesn't get in because of that, and now the committee's got their answer. But again, it's especially here locally. Try telling Cal fans Stanford's going after you beat them twice.
I mean, that's one thing I think the committee's been very consistent about on the bubble over the years is if you have 2 bubble teams and one swept both games, they tend to give the advantage to whoever that team is.
Yeah. I think just my thing with Cal is they need to be at least a few spots inside. And instead they lose to Wake Forest. Now they're probably a few spots outside. So if they would have beat Wake Forest yesterday, I think Cal would have been in a very good spot today, at least for this conversation. Obviously not overall.
What's funny is like we looked at Cal, I mean, mid-February when all they had left was like the home game against SMU was the big game left on their schedule. And we were like, okay, they probably need to go. Yeah, but we said they probably need to go 6-0 from here to really have a case. And here they took 2 losses, and we're still considering them. Just a testament to how ugly the bubble got.
And SMU, Kerry, to your point, SMU lost 4 in a row from that point forward.
Yeah, right. We got Ohio State, Missouri, UCF, and Texas in. I just want to point out that the unnamed bracketology podcast contingent of this committee is the only one that loves the Miami, Ohio Redhawks. Everybody else has them at the bottom of like every vote. But we're doing what we can.
I would vote with you guys if I was a committee member, honestly. But I'm going off of the treatment of the disrespect to UC San Diego last year. A team that was much, much better performance-wise. Still got a 12 from a lot of these same committee members in real life.
So if you were voting with your heart, Miami, Ohio would be swapping with Texas here, like 2 and 8 in this ballot.
Yeah, I think that'd be fair. Part of me would I kind of like them getting an 11 anyway. So 7, 10, and 8, 9 kind of sucks for a team like that.
Yeah. State.
Unless you want to give them a 6, can we give Miami, Ohio a 6 seed? That'd be great.
Yeah, let's do it.
No, we're not putting them in the NIT.
No.
The SOR says they're a 6 seed. For those listening, the SOR has Miami, Ohio number 21.
21.
Yeah.
Sniffing a 5 seed if we let the SOR do this. Which
is funny. Like, and I noticed that last year, like I BPI is the one that I hate the most, but the results-based metric based off of
Is
BPI
good.
is my favorite.
It's actually the most like fair, I think.
Like it's similar to
KPI
like
is
wins
probably
above
the
bubble.
Yeah, wins above bubbles good. The concept and it's I think it's good for like 95% of the results, but there are some baby flaws just based on the fact that sometimes when you get a huge win, you can still only gain like 0.75. Some of those
Yeah.
wins might be worth actually like 1.5 and how hard they were. And then the opposite way, sometimes teams aren't punished enough. Like I thought Utah State, and I haven't looked at this closely throughout the year. I think you guys might know more than me, but Utah State beats New Mexico yesterday. That's a really, really high level game for the Mountain West, and they only got like point 0.3 in WAB. And I'm like, and I'm watching these. I'm looking at these Big 12 games, and they're getting like point 0.5 in WAB for I don't know teams that I think are worse than New Mexico, but maybe I'm wrong.
I mean, it makes sense to me though, honestly. Like, do I think a bubble quality team should beat another bubble quality team about 70% of the time at home? Yeah. The ones that really get me are as I see like Arizona, it'll be like, oh, you lose 0.07 WAB if you lose at Arizona. I'm like, you think a bubble team is going to win 7% of the time at Arizona? They're not winning 7% of the time at Arizona. They don't understand how strong. Like, that's the ones that really get me. It should be like 0.99 WAB if you beat Arizona on the road.
Probably, yeah. Yeah, it's like when Washington State won there a few years ago.
All right. So we previously had Cal and Auburn in our selected field. I think we should throw Oklahoma, Stanford, definitely Stanford. Cincinnati. I'm just trying to pull 8 teams out of nowhere. Let's put West Virginia in there since somebody mentioned them earlier. Maybe Oklahoma State. He still have a decent, at least resume-based metrics. Or, excuse me, result-based. And who's one other bubble team who we haven't mentioned? San Diego State. Should we throw them in? Is Cincinnati in there?
with South Florida in there. Although I don't know if we had them as the auto bid.
They're the auto bid for us. Okay,
I mean,
San Diego State.
I forget if they weren't on our list before, they should be on there. They're probably closer
Who's
than
that?
people think. San Diego State.
So, yeah, no, we talked about them. I think I actually was covering them, although by that point I was a little inebriated. I think Arizona State is dead. We don't need to talk about them. So we'll take like I think if we take the top 2 from this group of 8 teams, that would get us to, then we'd have our first 4. Since we previously had Cal and Auburn, now we're deciding whether or not they should stay in.
I can tell you from looking in the spreadsheet, myself and another committee member have one particular team on literally complete opposite rankings. So that's kind of it.
That's where we've been with it on Miami, Ohio, too. So,
well, since only 2 people have
Not you
started
and
putting
me.
votes in, I wonder who that could be.
Grandma or Carrie, I apologize. I had to step away real fast. What are we doing here? I'm sorry.
You're good. You're good. We just grabbed a few more just fringe bubble teams, and
Okay.
we're going to rank these 8, and the top 2 will slide through into ultimately no worse than our first 4 out. So basically, we're deciding whether Cal and Auburn should stay in the conversation or whether they should be replaced by somebody else.
Gotcha.
What really strikes me this year is normally I think teams in this area just seem so far outside the bracket that they can't really do anything. But given the way the rest of the bubble is playing, it feels like 2 or 3 wins in your conference tournament, and you might just sneak in because I don't have any confidence in the team that we have, like last four in, all winning once they get to their conference tournaments.
You must have been parenting when Anthony and I were talking about that earlier, that it doesn't feel like any of these teams have any hope.
Yeah, we were kind of saying the inverse. It just feels like, but I think that has been going for the past few weeks for me. And then all of a sudden I'm like, oh, wait, this team actually out of nowhere is now maybe has a shot somehow. Like, then that maybe plays into Graham's point.
Like a very odd way, I think it's actually good for some of these teams that they're starting so early in their conference tournaments, because now they get to build up momentum, more wins. If they joined in like the quarterfinals, it's like, man, even a 1 win's not going to be enough. But now maybe you add 3, maybe that wob starts to add up.
All right. Well, it's looking like Stanford is going to replace Auburn. Cal also sneaks through, so we're removing Auburn from the conversation, which I'm happy to do. I don't know if it's correct, but I'm happy to do it.
Are we picking 4, Kerry, or no?
No, I just said we'll do the top 2, and then that will get us to the because of the 6 vote at some point that we'll have. All right, so
just to be sure I voted right, were we putting a 1 by the team we thought should stay in, or the team that we thought shouldn't stay in?
Rank them like the way you normally would, like if you had to seed these teams.
Okay,
like these
okay, that's
8,
what I
the
did. I
is your
just
best.
wanted to be sure that I was following the same logic as everybody else.
Yeah. All right, so it'll be Cal, Stanford.
Navy is down by 1 point at halftime.
Uh-oh.
Central Arkansas up by 4 at halftime. South Florida up by 15.
Joey's on my TV
Chaos,
right now.
Rocco.
Yes. Time to get to CBS Sports Network for the second half.
For CBS Sports Bracketology. Brought to you by this computer.
And nobody can explain it.
Nope. I was watching.
They might as well just have
the other night for the first time. The girl that they have doing it, or maybe they have multiple people doing it. I have no idea. Like the betting girl that was standing in front of the screen that Jerry Palm usually does, and it was rough to watch. Not her personally. I just think they didn't prepare her very well.
Nobody knows what to do with it. Like,
well, she's just kind of alluding to these like random data points that just don't like collectively just don't coalesce or make any sense.
Yeah, it's just like they're trying to make us stupider. It's like some sort of effort to make us not as smart.
Well, and for as advantageous and helpful as metrics can be as part of a tool and evaluation process, it can also make things a lot more complicated. Auburn is the perfect example right now.
Yeah, it is.
Because numbers and metrics, there's several teams you can look at right there as we're going through this, who, if their metrics were a little different, they wouldn't even be close to us to be considered based on what their resume on paper shows, or at least not as close.
Yep, I agree.
It's even at the top of the bracket too, right? Like I see Vanderbilt and I think, oh, maybe I need to consider them for a 4 seed, even though what I see doesn't seem like a 4 seed at all.
But welcome to the new world. If that's the case, if that's still going to win the day, then Auburn's definitely still in the conversation. If the number of losses becomes largely irrelevant anymore, it's more about the schedule and your wins and your numbers.
Yep.
And we've got, Auburn, Indiana are probably still right there at the cut line.
We now have 10 teams rather than doing an 8 vote. I think we should just do all 10 of these. If you're looking at the shared screen as opposed to the spreadsheet that we are voting in, it's the 10 that are highlighted here. I think we should go ahead and vote these 10. And then when we get down to 6, So the top 4 of this vote will become our 41 through 44. And then we'll be down to 6 teams for the last 2 spots. And I'm happy to spend a little bit more time digging into that vote before we just throw them together, since those will be our last 2 spots. And then we'll go to scrubbing and bracketing. But I think we're on a good trajectory here, time-wise, at least. As long as we don't run into too many horrible bracketing problems. And if we scrub BYU up to like a 6, as I did this morning, boy, it does become a lot easier to put them in the field. Not in the field, but in the bracket. If anybody's got any questions about the bubble, throw them in the chat and we'll grab them, or I'll grab them after I fill out my ballot here. Excuse me. Keep looking for teams that I'm actually okay with. Where are they? Oh, Miami, Ohio is the team that I'm okay with. I just glossed right over them. Jesus.
Indiana is another one of those teams I think belongs nowhere near the field, but I can't quit them as far as being a seriously considered team just because they still got the nice wins against Purdue and UCLA. Wisconsin home win is honestly kind of impressive when you consider who Wisconsin keeps beating on the road. Like there's something to be said about winning that game. But I don't want them anywhere close to the field, but I still think they're right there.
Yep. It's a clean resume that looks better this morning. Now that the UCLA is quad 1A, if you're into updated metrics.
Now, as I said, Marquette beating Connecticut helps them too. It moves from a quad 3 win to a quad 2, so now they got 6 of them.
Yeah. For a
Again,
team
I'm
that
not
got
sure it
pummeled
matters,
by
but
Ohio State.
But again, I mean, I had entering yesterday, I had Indiana as one of my last 2 teams in the field, and everybody but BC, everybody around them, including SMU, lost. So I guess maybe SMU and Indiana remain my last 2 teams in the field tomorrow by default.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't like it, but that's
When everybody loses, nobody loses, except for us, the viewers. All right, we have NC State, Santa Clara, VCU, and Miami, Ohio getting through. Finally, we get some mid-major love now that we're getting down to the cut line. So we will have one more vote on 6 teams, 2 of which will make it in. Oh, that got crazy. All right. And the resumes on here, I haven't updated these since Thursday afternoon. So, don't rank them in order of wins above bubble or anything crazy like that, because that's not accurate data. But if you look at the screen that is shared, that's the 6 we will be voting on. I think we can take a few minutes to discuss California, Indiana, if I can type it, New Mexico, SMU, Stanford, and Virginia Tech, which I'd say that's a good list of 6. That's about where I assume everybody is at on the bubble right now. Maybe Oklahoma should be in there. Maybe Auburn is in there as well, but this is what we got.
I think New Mexico looked so good to me a week ago, but now with the home loss to Colorado State, the road loss to Utah State, even competitive, just not enough compared to what I'm seeing in these other profiles. A really, really damaging week for New Mexico.
Got two questions here that might as well be directed at Graham. How do you view Cincinnati with the Jizzle James not being on the roster for the first 2 months? You mentioned them before. I think if they can beat Arizona in the quarters, do you think that is enough? Absolutely. I think if Cincinnati gets there, they're in.
Yeah.
At least pending bid thieves and such.
I honestly think they still have a bit of a shot if they can even get to the Arizona game, even if they don't win it. But if they win it, I think they're in.
Dave texted us that his Zoom froze, but he's like perfectly smiled. I love it.
Yeah, why when your Zoom freezes do you look great, and whenever mine freezes, I'm in the absolute worst look of all time.
And then question from Brandon Rostigai 9912. Do the close losses half-court shot for the Hokies on top of the injuries since conference play started, not to mention the losses to VCU and St. Mary's the day after Lawal got hurt, play a role? I mean, yes, they play a role. We'll let Graham decide how much of a role they play for his Hokies.
Yeah, I actually think I had Virginia Tech one spot above SMU today just because they won at Clemson and SMU hasn't done anything on the road. But to the point, I think that's a committee thing. Like, I think they would talk about that. It's like, hey, do we really want SMU ahead just because they hit a half-court shot? Is that really worth it? It's an important consideration.
I exited and came back.
You're good.
Something was
I was saying
goofy.
you were frozen, but you were like you had the biggest smile on your face. Like it was a perfect picture.
I was like, I just kept hearing this little, and I was like, I think something must be wrong on my end. So
Kerry, do you want us to vote on these 6 teams then?
Whenever we're ready to vote, I'm down to vote on these 6. I just figured we should spend maybe a little bit more time on these rather than flying through them since it is the final 2 spots. But I think we've all dissected these 6 teams over the last 24 hours. So Alex from Florida says we need 2 bid thieves. Yes, we do. Looking at this list of teams for the last 2 spots in the field.
We need 3.
I'll take 7.
We need 3. I think one thing about the bid thieves that we are maybe glossing over a little bit too is I think there's still a very real chance of a hypothetical bid thief, coming from one of these teams too. Like they can make a run. And also the fact that I'm not convinced that UConn or St. John's wins the Big East tournament either. Obviously the league is down, but I mean, we saw UConn struggle with Marquette yesterday. Huskies have not looked very good recently. And St. John's is a team that is very much predicated on bully ball. And if they go cold from the field, I mean, they are primed to get beat, even on their pseudo home court. So that league of any of the Power 5 could be a very interesting one to follow. That could be a sneaky contender for a bid thief.
Yep. No matter what, there's at least one bid thief candidate that will be in the semifinals. And you heard it here first, folks.
Correct.
Anthony Valentino says DePaul will win the Big East tournament.
Oh boy, Kerry, I wasn't going to go there, but I guess I'll have to stand on this. I put my foot out there. So yes,
they can beat Seton Hall, so they got that going for them.
That's true. Indiana's one too. I just can't. I know we keep talking about how they're just close because the bubble stinks, but their profile is horrendous. Like it is straight up horrendous. I mean, they're 6-13 against the first 2 quadrants. I mean, there's just nothing good.
The thing is, they don't look good when they play good teams either. That's the other thing that gets me.
That's the other thing.
They just don't look good.
Which is what I don't understand. Like, how are the predictive metrics what's carrying them? Because they don't feel like a top 40 type of team. Like
they played so many bad teams out of conference, ran the score up, and now their Big Ten uncompetitive losses when they're playing the top teams don't seem to hurt them.
Well, and then
They
like
are 29th in Torvik. Like, that's mind blowing.
yeah, well, they got help because after losing that Michigan State game, then they went and they blew out Minnesota by 30. Yeah,
I've heard enough. Put them in the tournament.
So
I mean,
they
they're
were
6-13 versus the first two quadrants, but SMU's 8-12, and so is Vatek, so it's not a whole lot better.
Yeah.
I mean, those the last two teams for me, I feel like it's the last two in. There's a little bit of a gap between the last two and then the next two. We need two. Two is the number for me, Anthony. If we can get two bid thieves, that would be awesome. I would take that right now and run.
You know what sucks though, Matt, is we're going to get two bid thieves, and it's going to be Santa Clara and VCU who get left out. We'll still get Indiana and Auburn.
I mean, it's a real thing. We see this every year. Some power conference team that we're talking about, like, how are they still on the bubble? They're going to win 2 or 3 games in the conference tournament, and all of a sudden they're going to look a lot better on Selection Sunday.
Rusty Tutton 9473 says, even with 2 wins against Utah and UCF, Cincinnati would still be negative WOB value. So that's been the problem for Cincinnati, and why I couldn't possibly understand why Torvik's Tourneycast loved the Bearcats before now. Their WOB was always a problem. Granted, they took about a minus 0.99 in that home loss to Eastern Michigan, which we've discussed that they were down 3 key players. Thank you, Cincinnati representative Graham Dorn, for pointing that out. So that they've been trying to overcome that all season long.
Yeah, good timing with Stan Heath getting fired today to bring that game up.
Well, what, the bottom 4 teams in the MAC all fired their coaches?
Wait, I was the Cincinnati rep, Kerry. What you don't give Graham credit for that?
Were you? I thought what? Maybe Graham just talked about it so much on our Big 12 pod.
Graham is the official Kansas PR representative. That was his Big 12 responsibility.
You're the Cincinnati rep. I'm the Cincinnati fanboy. Totally different role.
Cincinnati and Iowa State for life. All right. I think we got our votes in. It will be SMU and Graham's Virginia Tech Hokies as the last 2 teams in. First 4 out are Stanford, Indiana, Cal, and New Mexico. And I do think Auburn and Oklahoma are still in that conversation, as well as Cincinnati to some extent, but that's where we are at. Dive into scrubbing real quick.
Yeah.
It is 3:15 here. I would like to be done with scrubbing by 3:30 if we can. I mean, let's try and fly through this.
Florida
Florida over Connecticut. That's an instantaneous. Do we want to discuss Houston, Connecticut real quick? I moved Houston over Connecticut.
As did I.
Anybody else?
I haven't really dove in, so I'll sit this one out.
It's Houston for me, and I think it's one of those that's not based on metrics, not based on quality wins. It's really just they're the better team, and I think the committee would feel the same.
To me, it's the quad 3 loss for UConn and Houston's clean resume. That's why I put Houston above.
Well, in Marquette,
it's quad 2
close to the tournament either, right? Like this is not a loss where you look at it and think, well, is it borderline quad 1 or whatever? Like this is not even close to a tournament team they lost to in Marquette.
Nope.
Well, you haven't seen the Big East tournament yet. Marquette could win that thing. They play like yesterday. Then they're a tournament team.
That was Connecticut's play, not Marquette's play, Rocco.
Hey, I've been tracking Marquette the last 6 weeks or whatever on the Torvik stuff. They've actually been in the top 5 of the Big East for the last 5 or 6 weeks.
They have
no excuse for that.
They are
I know, no
Reversed.
excuse. You guys are right. I'm just poking the bear here.
Well,
they've been reverse BYU, where they build up a lead and then they crap the bed down the stretch over and over. So yeah, I believe their Torvik believes in them. but
They've had some good possessions, but not good late possessions, is what you're saying.
I think
Yes.
for Houston,
All right,
I think
so-
the Houston UConn debate, real quick, Kerry. I think it's ultimately
Yeah.
I still really love UConn's wins stacking up against Houston. I do agree with Graham though. I need to look at these a little bit closer, and I'm willing to bump Houston ahead. I just think it's going to come down to who they lost to and the optics of that at the end of the day. Houston has struggled against the highest end teams, but they also just haven't really lost to anyone all that bad. And I think, to Graham's point, optically, they look better. And I think the committee's going to
optically,
probably lean that
Yeah.
way.
Yeah,
I
it's
think
the
that
it's
was-
the proverbial eye test, right? If you've watched the two teams play in the last 2 weeks, your eye test would tell you one thing. I don't know if that matters to this year's committee or not, but
I think so. I think it does.
I mean, that was the case 2
Last
weeks ago
year.
for the top 16 reveal. Like
Yeah,
everybody
it's a
felt
lot of the
that
same
Houston was
people.
the better team, but
It's a lot of
Also,
the same
Houston
members as
has-
last year, so yeah.
Houston has handled the lower end of the Big 12 in general pretty well and has handled those games without
that's
a doubt.
Houston's
Whereas
style.
UConn has lagged and struggled against Georgetown, has struggled against Providence in a game. Like it's pretty clear that UConn is missing that killer instinct. And like you said, I think the committee will know that.
That's a
I
good
think the
point,
other,
Anthony.
yeah, I think the only other thing, if you had it as a tie, even if UConn is above Houston, they can't go to the East because the 1-5 rule. If you make UConn 6 overall, they can go to the East.
well,
that's
there's
enough for me to do it because I like that, and I want
And-
Houston going to the
That's where
South.
my head goes.
Exactly. Houston goes to the South. Everybody's happy.
All right, we'll
At
make
the end
that
of the day,
swap.
they're
All
both
right.
twos.
Michigan State 7, Illinois 8, Iowa State 9. Any arguments on any of that? I think if nothing is like particularly unanimous, we'll just leave it be. Purdue, Texas Tech, and Nebraska. Obviously, we don't know yet if Nebraska is going to beat Iowa. We just have to assume that game's not happening. I don't think either Purdue or Texas Tech's losses rise to the level of dropping below Nebraska necessarily, but I'm open to the conversation.
I feel the opposite. I feel adamant.
I feel
that
the
Texas
opposite.
Tech is 12 and
Same.
9 against quads 1 and 2. They need
Yeah.
to.
I feel, yeah, Purdue and Texas Tech. I moved all the way below Kansas together as a tandem.
Same.
I didn't
So-
drop Purdue that low, but I would put Nebraska ahead of them for now because we don't know what's going to happen today.
I
And
do
I
have on mine, I have Nebraska 10 and Gonzaga 11. So if we want to joint move
Yep.
them over Purdue and Texas.
Yep.
And then we can talk Kansas as well, possibly.
Yep, that's
That
That's a good
grouping
start.
makes sense to me now.
Okay. All right. Gonzaga 11, Purdue 12, Texas Tech 13, Kansas 14. We want to scrub Kansas up at least over Texas Tech.
For sure, to me.
I would say yes.
yeah.
Thank you, Kansas
Yes.
fan.
Do we want to have? I
mean,
want,
they're 15 and
I want
9
60
versus
seconds of
12
Graham.
Graham has to leave the room.
I want 60 seconds of Graham discussing why we should
Please.
scrub Kansas ahead of Florida. That's what I need right now.
It's a lot of scrubbing.
So,
Well,
I mean,
if you-
just out of
if you
pure
look at the
curiosity,
matrix.
does anybody else think that Alabama ought to be at 13?
I think Alabama
I have them
is
there.
worth
I looked
being
at it.
considered, but it's a tough call. I don't know that I'm convinced they need to be above.
Yeah.
I don't know
let's
that I'd
talk,
be
let's
convinced
talk
later in the week.
Kansas and Purdue real quick. Where are we at on them? I still have
Kansas.
Purdue ahead of Kansas.
I would, but
I'm sticking with Kansas here, but I can live either way.
I would keep.
I would go with
ahead.
Purdue because the quad 2 loss for Kansas, even though Kansas does have more quad 1A wins and the metrics are better for Purdue, I'd choose Purdue over Kansas.
I'm worried
All
about that split in the quality metrics. I mean, Purdue is so far ahead.
Yeah.
All right. Alabama, Texas Tech.
I like
I have
Alabama,
Alabama.
above Texas Tech.
I have Alabama several spots ahead.
Same.
Interesting.
Uh,
I'm having a hard time with that. I have Texas Tech
We-
still. Top 3
where
wins
do you-
way
Yeah.
better for Texas Tech, and
Yeah.
the reveal had Texas Tech 13 and Alabama
13.
not on the board at all. I think they would have had them 17 or 18, but
Yep.
it's too much for me. I haven't seen enough to convince me that Alabama belongs above them.
I do think this is just my personal opinion that Texas Tech losing to BYU last night is going
Good
to do
game.
more to their seed than it should, because that was like that statement with or without Toppin. I don't know. I think that would
Good
hurt
game.
them, but
They played good. They just didn't win.
yeah. Well, that's ask for
So-
Virginia Tech fans.
It was an inspiring Richie Saunders tribute night. He came out on the court, got flowers. The whole crowd went nuts. People were in tears. It's a hard place to win.
And then Texas Tech was like 11 for its first 16 from 3.
That's true. They're like, screw you, Richie Saunders.
I mean, the only thing I would say, just in relation to Alabama and Kansas, and I know I understand the top of the big wins, but I mean, if you're from a metric, unless I'm looking at something wrong, I mean, Alabama's top 10 in both SOAR and WAB. And where, Kansas is 18 and 14. They're a little closer on the predictive side. I mean, again, they're right next to each other, so I don't going to worry about taking much time today to worry about it. But it's a close call, and it doesn't really matter because they're in the middle of the 4 line. So
true.
Yeah, even if we scrub
unless Kansas
Alabama over, if we scrub Alabama over Kansas, they're not going to leapfrog Purdue anyway because of the head-to-head.
Because the head-to-head,
yeah. So just
it's more about Kansas versus Purdue but we already went through that, right? So
I also think these teams are going to solve some of this probably at mid next week when we do our final scrub next week.
Yeah.
All right, let's go down. Virginia, Texas Tech.
If they take a bad loss,
leave Virginia. Virginia, Arkansas. Do we want to swap them?
No, we talked about this at length and earlier this week, how Virginia's top wins away from home just blow Arkansas's out of the water. Arkansas's 2-7 against Quad 1A. I just don't see how you can put that above Virginia personally.
Losing record on the road too for the anti-Bud Walton lovers or haters.
But the eye test, I'd take Arkansas in that game 9 out of 10.
100%.
Arkansas's Final Four odds are definitely better than Virginia's.
Arkansas is the 5 seed. You do not want.
So if we go back to the committee, neutral court, which one you taking?
Arkansas. Yeah. Then the SEC, they're just going to do that on every comparison. They're like, we win all of these.
Proposal to just swap Vanderbilt and Tennessee after yesterday's result.
Absolutely.
At 20 and 18.
So are you discounting the fact that Tennessee just won at Vanderbilt?
Yes.
Well, that was part of our.
But Tennessee is being evaluated without Ament until further notice, in my opinion.
Right.
Yeah.
And that Tennessee over Vanderbilt
yes.
2 weeks ago is how they got ahead of Vanderbilt in the first place. Now they swapped it back.
That's true.
I think St. John's also over Tennessee then.
Yeah. I think we should move St. John's up now that they've locked up.
Yeah, how about Wisconsin?
I think Wisconsin's got.
I think Wisconsin's above Tennessee also. Yeah.
Yeah.
St. John's and Wisconsin directly ahead of Tennessee and North Carolina.
Yes.
Can I just make a note?
I don't know about North Carolina.
The Badgers.
Wisconsin and Carolina, I'm struggling with that.
Yeah.
I'm really struggling with that.
So I'll put Carolina back at 20, and we can discuss Carolina and Wisconsin. I think Matt, were you trying to say something?
I think that's the battle.
I was going to say
Anthony,
something about
maybe.
Wisconsin. It is crazy to see in the past, I think like 2.5 weeks or so, they've gone from on the quality side, like mid 30 average to now around 23. I mean, that is, they still had those 2 good wins in their back pocket before, but they really shored up their over. I mean, basically their metrics got in line with their profile real quick, which is, I think, going to help them a lot because they were a tough team to seed because they had this 2 huge wins prior to winning at Purdue, but still had metrics that were telling you they should have been, down on the 7-8 border.
What ultimately did it for me when I was comparing North Carolina and Wisconsin this morning is as great as the Wisconsin wins are, and they're excellent. North Carolina also has really, really strong top end wins, and they don't have a loss in quad 2. They don't have a loss in quad 3. Wisconsin has both. So I certainly think Wisconsin can get there this week, but I just really struggle with that when North Carolina's been so clean outside of quad 1.
Okay, but how do we want to evaluate North Carolina without Caleb?
I know that's my challenge with
going
Tar
forward.
Heels now.
If you're gonna drop Tennessee, probably had a better profile than North Carolina, but if you're gonna drop Tennessee for that, then you got to do the same.
I agree.
I don't think we're dropping Tennessee for the injury. They've already said Amen's probably going to play in the SEC tournament. I don't know how true that is. It might be just
Yeah, that's why
Rick
I
Barnes
haven't dropped
begging that we don't get dropped. But, yeah. No, I think to Graham's point, Carolina's top end wins are on par with Wisconsin's and better in terms of name value, right? We got to remember a win over Duke is an automatic bump, and they also beat Kansas and Kentucky. That's pretty big wins. All right, so UNC, Wisconsin. If it's not unanimous, we'll leave it.
Okay.
I would vote to swap them, though. Anybody else?
I mean, I decided to swap them, but I mean that's
Graham just smirked, so he's going to be the deviator here. So I think that we're leaving it as is.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I'm like, I want to see what happens in the conference tournaments this week. I don't feel like it's enough yet.
All right, Carolina, Wisconsin, Tennessee, Louisville, Kentucky. That feels about right to me.
Kentucky. I moved Kentucky down.
So did I.
Did too.
Yeah, I actually have Kentucky behind Georgia, who they lost to on a home court.
All right, well, we're talking 23 and 24 right now. We can scrub Kentucky down. We got to figure out who's replacing them.
I put
St.
BYU
Mary's,
and St. Mary's both above. Yeah, both of them.
BYU,
I have
BYU at 24.
Iowa State, and Texas Tech without Richie Saunders.
BYU to 24 then?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I did. I know it's
that
not
was a
fun.
vomit. Who vomited? Dave, what's the matter?
I don't know. I mean, it's a home game. I mean, I had BYU almost dropping. I mean, I had BYU almost ready to go on to my 8 line, and winning a home game against Texas Tech without their best players, I have a hard time jumping them back 4 lines for that. Now they might do something big in the Big 12 tournament.
They're playing early as the 10 seed.
I mean, Kentucky has more better wins than BYU does, I believe.
Yeah, are we scrubbing them ahead of St. Mary's or ahead of Kentucky? What are we talking about?
BYU
yes.
versus Kentucky.
I'm open to scrubbing them ahead of Miami and St. Mary's, but I don't know about Kentucky.
How about St. Mary's ahead of Kentucky?
I have
and
that.
then we can discuss where we land on BYU, but that at least gets us.
That's even
here.
worse than BYU.
Yeah, I'm actually I have Kentucky
boy.
still ahead of St. Mary's due to the top wins.
I mean, I like St. Mary's, but they basically have a win over Gonzaga, and that's it. If you're talking comparisons of high level wins, their metrics are good.
They beat Northern Iowa. Arch Madness champions, baby.
So nobody wants Kentucky as a 6th seed, but we can't decide who we actually do want there, is where we're at. I'm going to second the BYU proposal, and I hear your rejection, Dave, but
okay.
Is anybody else opposed to BYU at 24?
No, it's fine.
I support it.
I can get there. Yeah.
All right. BYU to 24.
It's just a 1 spot difference from where I have them, so I'm not worried about
it. Kentucky to 25. So now Kentucky and St. Mary's. I heard there were some other couple. You said you already have St. Mary's behind Kentucky, so we'll leave that as is. St. Mary's and Miami, Florida.
Well, Miami lost yesterday, so
I would put Georgia. I would put Georgia after St. Mary's.
Miami took a home loss yesterday.
Yeah.
I would put Georgia in front of all 3 of those teams potentially.
I still have Villanova. I still have Villanova higher than Miami and Georgia personally. Just think they have a very safe floor.
I'm kind of the opposite. I think Villanova hasn't really beaten anybody, so I think their floor is relatively low personally.
Yeah.
Villanova does have the best resume metrics of the bunch. I don't freaking know how they do, but they do.
They beat Wisconsin in Milwaukee.
Yeah.
That's basically a road win.
Kentucky, St. Mary's, Miami, Villanova, Georgia. So we want to scrub up Georgia is what I'm hearing.
Well, I think we were going to drop Miami, right?
Yeah, drop Miami.
Swap Georgia and Miami, maybe. Leave Villanova at the 7.
Yeah.
Or is Villanova still behind Miami? Okay.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
I'm with Graham, though. Like, I just want Villanova to be an 8. I don't know how to get them there, but that's what I want.
You just want
your resume metrics are good, but you've got a nice. You somehow fooled the Wob. Go fucking beat Michigan in the second round. Good luck, guys.
Villanova is one of those
pardon my
teams where it's
French.
like, this is why we have a committee, is what I'm hoping will be the response there. Like, this is why you don't just go off the metrics.
All right. So Miami, Clemson, is there a head-to-head there that we should be considering now? I'm sure there is.
Yes.
Where are they at? Miami.
Whoever played at home
at
won.
Clemson.
Yeah, the home
Clemson.
team won, so it doesn't matter that much.
Okay. UCLA and Clemson. I know
they have not played each other
UCLA.
yet.
They have not. No.
Potential 8-9 matchup. There you go.
Yeah.
I mean, UCLA got another. They got another blowout win on a blowout road win, technically, even though it was
against a dead team.
Against a dead team across town. No flight required. But it definitely beautified. UCLA got like the 6th seed in the Big Ten tournament. Pretty crazy.
Damn.
Higher than Purdue. Purdue's the 7.
But hey, while we're talking about this, anybody feel TCU ought to be up on the 8 line?
I do.
Yeah, that was where we're going next. So TCU and UCLA. We're scrubbing TCU.
Oh wait, I'm sorry. I have TCU at 9. I don't even know my own bracket. That's awesome.
TCU is already an 8 seed for us.
Yeah.
That's fine. They're in that range.
Okay, yeah, I see what you're talking about here. Yeah. Okay, I was 1 line off, so.
Okay. Utah State. Do we want to move them up? Now we're into the teams that I guess we already were into the teams that we bracketed today.
I was going to say, we voted on all these teams today. Why would we change them?
Well, I think we should at least discuss Ohio State because it took us a little while to get them into the vote based on the holdovers and stuff. So I think really just should Ohio State move up.
I would bump Ohio State ahead of Iowa myself right now.
That's
I think the profile is actually better. To be honest with you,
I can't do it. I think Ohio State's profile is built on quicksand. There's no foundation there. It's 3 home wins, and they're still an 11-loss team. Their best road wins at Northwestern. It's like, or Oregon and Penn State. They didn't do anything on the road. Ohio State.
Well, they also didn't lose to Maryland and Penn State.
That's a good point.
We will.
Iowa didn't do a lot on the road either. So
did Navy win or lose, or is that still going on?
Navy's playing right now.
Still going on.
They're up by 2, so we'll leave them as the projected. We just have to swap out
Wilmington's
Wilmington.
Out. Yep.
So who do we need to put in there?
Charleston.
And whereabouts would you put them metric wise? Down here-ish, below Troy?
That might be too low.
Okay.
Well, it's interesting because
below Irvine.
The whole Hickman thing. I just don't know how much time the actual committee knows about all this stuff. But the Hickman thing's the big story for Charleston. But they have 2 quad 2-way wins at Wilmington, at Hofstra. Those are really good wins. I would probably say they're near Irvine. They're below Utah Valley, probably right near Irvine.
Okay.
I think that's fine.
Behind Irvine.
Yeah, I think that's fine. They're definitely above Navy.
Okay. All right. Time to bracket. I will put these updated seeds into my list. This should only take a couple minutes. If anybody wants to discuss anything else.
Yeah, I guess right now for me, I just see like Ohio State and Iowa pretty much right next to each other. You want to have Iowa ahead of Spot, and their resumes are very much similar.
Yeah, it's just except for the losses. Ohio State's lost a lot more games. Don't they? Ohio State's got 11 losses. Iowa's got 7 or 8.
No, right? Iowa's got 10.
Oh, they got 10. Oh, yeah. I have them down for 9 still.
No, because they've lost.
That's right. They have the quad 3 loss. Maybe I didn't update after their last game.
Iowa's lost to Minnesota, Penn State, and Maryland.
Yep.
And then,
they won at Indiana. That was,
Iowa. Yeah, I mean that's what the difference is there. I mean, Iowa's 3-7 on the road. Ohio State's 5-6. It's just that, they have they got the one in Indiana.
it's a little
I mean,
better.
if Iowa loses in their first game of the Big Ten tournament, Maryland or Oregon, I mean, they're probably looking at a mid-40s resume average on Selection Sunday, I would think, somewhere in that range.
Yeah.
Which
I mean, all of their numbers are
rough.
basically the same. It's just, Ohio State beat. Yeah, I mean, I guess it depends on how you define, your wins over
Home
Wisconsin,
games.
UCLA, and
And
at home, and West Virginia.
Iowa beat Nebraska. They killed the other thing is they killed Ohio State. Iowa killed them, but it was in Iowa City.
Right. Well, and again, Ohio State's
wasn't
played
a good
better
game.
the last month than they were in January. There's no doubt.
Well, that was last week or 2 weeks ago. It
Yeah.
was like down the stretch.
Like I said, I've got them close.
Yeah. Iowa beat UCLA. Yeah, I mean it's not overwhelming, that's for sure.
To me, the only difference was, the head-to-head, but then the two losses that Iowa's taken that aren't very good.
I just think, the two head coaches are hard for me. I think one's like a legend and the other guy's like very sketchy. But but yeah, that's not on the team sheet, so it's okay.
I'm trying to just figure out how to split my screen.
Yeah. Anyway, that'll probably figure itself out. If Iowa beats Nebraska today, then obviously that changes that dynamic.
I think they're actually scheduled to play too in the Big Ten tournament if Iowa wins.
If Iowa wins, that'll be good.
They'll be the next game, which will be
that'll be good.
Yeah. I mean, the good news for Big Ten fans is I think, just given the bubble and everything, they're in their metrics, they're both going to be tournament teams. So I don't see a way to Iowa to fall out. I agree with.
Yeah.
There was a time I was thinking it could happen, but I mean, with their metrics being what they are, and the rest of the bubble, unless it just gets really.
I think Ohio State probably has a slight edge due to Iowa taking that bad loss. But otherwise, it's really close. I don't have a strong opinion one way or the other, but for me, it's Ohio State.
Yeah, I mean they're kind of right next to each other wherever you want to have them.
Yeah, I mean, just looking at both of them for a while, it's a stark reminder of how awful these super conferences are. I mean, the fact that they can just do this and they're safely in kind of drives me nuts because they haven't really done anything overly impressive. I'm not saying they're not good enough. I've watched them both play. I know they're capable of Sweet 16 level success, but they haven't. There's nothing in the resume that's just like, aha.
Ohio State beat Road Purdue. That's a different beast.
Right.
Road Purdue.
Iowa probably should have won at Purdue. They would have gave Purdue a 6th home loss. That was earlier this year, but it was a really good game.
No, I mean, like I said, I think they're both. The metrics have been pretty consistent on those teams throughout the season too.
Right.
Even when their resumes weren't great, but most of us had Ohio State on the outside looking in, the metrics were still telling you they were a tournament team.
Yeah.
Now they've done enough here in the last 3 weeks or so to pretty much shore that up.
Yeah, I just think Ohio State's definitely played better down the stretch, but most of those performances were in Columbus. So I'm just I'm taking it all with a grain of salt. Because most of their road, I mean, I saw them lose at Washington, and I know Washington's not a good team. So anyway, maybe that's where some of my
all right, you guys able to
comes from.
See the screen here? We got distances on the bottom, brackets up at the top. Ignore this gray part. That was a holdover from previously. Let me get these up here. Okay. Obviously, Duke goes east. I'm just going to kind of wing it, and you guys throw in your thoughts as you see fit. All right, I always have to redo this when I delete everything. Boom, boom, boom. There we go. All right. So we all know Duke goes east, Michigan goes Midwest, Arizona goes west, Florida goes south. Do you want to start putting in their pods as well, or save that until last?
What do you mean by that?
Bracket top
Yeah,
4 and
location?
then pod.
Like bracket the
Okay.
16 and then go back and do the
Okay.
pods.
Yeah, do the top 16 first.
Yeah, I always do the
Okay.
top 16 and pod afterwards.
Okay. Houston would go to Houston, even though that will piss everybody off to no end. Well, we talked about moving Connecticut so they could go east, but they have to go Midwest because
Yeah,
we
can't
have
go east. Yeah.
2 Big Ten teams here. Michigan State, Illinois.
Yeah.
Let me add the
Good point,
numbers
good
so I
point.
don't forget. 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. Iowa State, I assume, is Midwest. Nebraska's only option at this point is here. Gonzaga would want to go there, but then we're stuck with a Purdue Michigan State. Did they play multiple times?
No,
Nope.
they
Even
just
if
played.
they did play twice, they're allowed. Okay, so 9. That's a 0. 9, 10, 11, 12. Where are we at? That's 20. That's 17. That's a 19. So we're going to need a low one over here. We might have to throw Alabama out west just to balance things.
Illinois tied with Maryland early on.
Yikes.
Rip up the bracket.
Yeah.
Burn it down.
Fear the turtle.
Alabama West, even though they wouldn't want that. I think we need it for regional balance.
They came out here 2 years ago and went to the Final Four. It's not too bad of a recipe.
Oh, then they love it.
Yeah.
And then Kansas has to go here as the 4th Big 12 team. Virginia, either one.
It doesn't matter.
I think Virginia South is better balance, but it doesn't matter. All right, so that's 13, 14, 15, 16. So 32, 34, 35. That's better than I usually do. All right,
Not
good
bad.
job, guys. All right. Pods action. Duke goes Greenville. Michigan as the 2 overall seed goes to Buffalo.
Buffalo.
Even though they would prefer Philadelphia. Arizona goes to San Diego, and Florida, I assume, goes to Tampa. Houston would go Oklahoma City.
OKC.
UConn, Philly. No double dips yet. That's fun. Michigan State goes Buffalo, right?
Yes.
Yeah. St. Louis
And
for
then
Illinois.
Illinois, St. Louis. Let me start just marking these as gray so I don't forget as we start thinking about BYU. Okay. Iowa State, St. Louis.
St. Louis.
Nebraska, Oklahoma City.
Oklahoma City.
Gonzaga is
Now
obviously
you got 2
Portland.
out.
And that's good. Now we've got all sorts of gray options for BYU. Thinking BYU. Purdue is probably Greenville at this point,
Greenville.
right?
Or Philly. Which
Yeah.
one's closer?
Greenville's a little closer, I think.
Greenville.
Yeah, Greenville's 150 miles closer. So we have 1 Philly, 1 San Diego, 1 Portland, and 1 Tampa remaining. Alabama would go Tampa.
Tampa.
Kansas.
Philadelphia. Yeah.
Yeah.
Would they
Texas
just
Tech
send
would
them
go.
out west though instead? Would they send
I
them?
think I think they'd put Texas Tech to San Diego would make sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Would they send
Agreed.
Kansas to Portland to keep Virginia, like to just kind of keep them somewhat close? Like, I feel like they've taken some liberties with these in the past.
Yeah, if it's more than 1,000 miles away, they can kind of do what they want without much of a difference. It's a flight either way.
Yeah.
So that would be, then we'd have Virginia to Philly, Texas Tech to San Diego, and Kansas to Portland.
I mean,
They
I
can
don't know
go-
if they would do that, but if you're talking, it's almost 1,000 miles to Philly, or
Right.
1,400 to Portland. I don't know if it makes a whole lot of difference.
Yeah.
Well, it just helps. It helps not send Virginia 1,000 miles. I guess if
2,000
it's
miles away,
or
right?
if
Yeah.
it's close, like, do they just say, well,
Yeah.
Kansas is close enough to Portland, so let's just send them there, and then Virginia doesn't have to go to Portland?
I mean, especially with all the charter flight issues they've been talking about.
Graham's not going to
All
be.
right.
They still have to fly
Kansas
somewhere.
Portland.
Right. But it spares Virginia from flying to San Diego or Portland.
I see. They could charter bus or
Granted.
something.
The bus up to Philly,
When-
which is not that far.
These,
When
these
in
teams
the
can
his-
pay. These teams have so much NIL, they can pay for their own charter. They don't need the NCAA. It's more like you're talking about like the Tennessee states that need that.
Yeah. I had
Not
a
these
buddy,
teams have millions of dollars.
I had a buddy who was flying back from Virginia, and he got like diverted to Baltimore. He was like, I'm on a flight with Norfolk State. They're going up to Coppin State. I was like, why is that a flight? That's like a 4-hour drive for a MEAC school. Are you freaking kidding me?
They travel in style at Norfolk, baby.
Apparently. But yes, as we know, the committee will disenfranchise Kansas in order to make life easier for Virginia. Thank you, Graham, for your wise input on that. All right, so we are back to putting teams into the bracket. Let me move this up. This is the part where I'm going to request some assistance, making sure I'm avoiding matchups, although we're not there yet. Arkansas as the top 5 seed. I guess Philadelphia.
Virginia.
Vanderbilt, San Diego, or Portland. It's not great. Probably.
You got to go east because
Yeah, you probably go.
Yeah.
probably go east to avoid Florida just for now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, they don't worry about that. It's only for the top 16. But
Well, I'm just saying,
Yes,
wouldn't they
yeah,
just
it
like
makes more
do it
sense that
anyways
way.
if they have the spot? I would think.
I think St. John's would go to Tampa instead of San Diego, and that leaves North Carolina going to San Diego.
Well, they played though, Bama. Wouldn't they try to slide them to?
I mean, would they?
Well, they can easily avoid a rematch there, no? In the second round, by just switching North Carolina and.
Would they?
Yeah,
Do they care enough about that to send St. John's all the way across the? I don't even
I
really
don't know.
worry about
I've seen a lot of
illegal
times where they'll.
matchups.
I feel like
I've
they
seen a
would.
lot of times where they'll just put it. They don't really care if it's not the first round.
Right. Yeah, I don't think they. I know they say they'll avoid second round matchups, but then the bracket comes out and we see like 4 of them. Like you could have easily. But I'll do it. I'll put St. John's.
Yeah.
I think that would be a more entertaining game anyway. St. John's and Texas Tech, and then Alabama, North Carolina. Holy shnikes. Of course, Carolina's going to lose to whatever 12 seed we put them with. Tennessee.
We also are trying to. I feel like the committee, for conspiracy theorists, why wouldn't they want to accommodate North Carolina another year?
Yeah, right. All right. Tennessee would go Greenville, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Wisconsin, St. Louis. Louisville to OKC and BYU. Even though they were our last option, they go perfectly to Portland
That
against
works out
Gonzaga,
well.
where I've had them like all freaking season. All right, St. Mary's, Oklahoma City, I guess.
Yeah.
Miami. You scroll down, see where Miami's at.
St. Louis, right?
I think so.
Wait, didn't we scrub Miami down to an 8?
They moved Georgia up.
Yeah, we don't have Miami at 7. We moved them.
No, we don't. I didn't update my seed list on here. My bad.
Oh, so we have to start over now. Great.
No, I think
I'm just
we're
messing
good.
with you, Gary. Totally messing with you.
I have been following like my seed list to the side as opposed to this. It's my bad. But
No
I think
worries.
we're good.
You have a tough job.
Central Arkansas in trouble here, Rocco.
Yeah, Queens, baby. Queens was my pick. I have Queens in the Jerome. It's a 7-point bonus.
I think I do too.
Let's go.
I did not have Northern Iowa though.
Did you have Campbell carry? That's the real one.
No. Campbell. No, I have Hofstra in the CAA.
One thing we absolutely have to do is put Northern Iowa in Portland, opposite Kansas. Now we know. Now we know where to put.
Where was that game? Was that in Denver? Where was that game?
Where's my paper? I need to add it to the list.
Well, even better, Dave, would be if Colorado State wins the Mountain West tournament, then you put them against with Kansas and Northern Iowa in the same pod. Now you got Ollie Fruchmanesh coaching Colorado State, Northern Iowa, Kansas is just doomed.
Oh no! Yeah, actually, I would love it. We're ready to get that one off our chests. Go ahead and get a little bit of a revenge.
Put them both in there.
Graham, you weren't here when we banished the Jayhawks to Portland. You missed that part.
I was gonna say if Austin Peay hadn't lost, you could have put them against Illinois somewhere down the road because Illinois lost to them one year, long time ago. I think.
That's right. Good memory.
Kentucky would go to St. Louis.
If your team's been in the tournament long enough, they've lost to somebody you don't like.
Yeah, Kansas has lost to Bradley. They've lost to
Bucknell, right?
Bucknell, yeah. Bucknell, that was amazing.
Chris McNaughton, I'll never forget that name.
Turns out when you're a top 4 seed every year, occasionally you get upset.
It's good to be the king, Graham, right?
All right, now Miami. We're good. Miami up to an 8. They would go to Tampa, right? Although that is a rematch.
UConn versus Georgia in the Silas Demery Bowl.
No, they wouldn't do the rematch, Graham. So send them to Green, and they can go to Greenville because they didn't play Duke.
Yeah, that's true.
It happened for me last week.
Oh, so stupid.
But that's what they would do.
That's like crazy, though.
It is.
Now let's start.
And if you want to avoid that, you can send them to San Diego. Keep them southern half of the United States. Keep them on a beach at least.
Oh yeah, I forgot they played Florida.
Whatever, I'll do it. Miami to Greenville. That's kind of funny. Clemson would probably go Tampa.
Be good for ratings if Jai Lucas plays Duke in the second round.
Right. After
avoiding him in the whole season in the same league.
I was gonna say after John Shire beats Nolan Smith in the first round.
Yeah.
Where's UCLA? Oh yeah, UCLA to San Diego, baby. Give us that Pac-12. I don't care that that's a rematch.
Can we? No. Hold on, Kerry. We got to go back. I know Miami versus Duke is funny, but it's actually funnier to see Mick have to fly to Greenville and then stay in DC.
Never hear the end of it.
You cannot keep Mick out west.
All right. So Miami to Buffalo then.
Wherever.
Good old
Mick's
Mick to
go
Greenville.
It's the only way.
And then we have TCU against Arizona.
Well, can't you just switch TCU and Miami? Oh no, they play Michigan. Well, I guess that's also a problem. Sorry, Mick, you're back in San Diego. Good for you.
Yeah, see, this is why I never bother caring about second round matchups. Oh, dog's going nuts.
You could just because those are all second round matchups almost with all those teams. That's crazy.
Yeah, and then we're gonna run into an 8-9 problem regardless. Somehow.
Problems were built to be solved, Kerry.
Yeah.
We got this.
We're gonna start it over again.
Couldn't you do UCLA to Tampa, TCU to Greenville, and then Clemson?
You don't have to don't just try to piss off Mick. Come on.
No, that's the way though, isn't it? Miami, Michigan, TCU, Duke, UCLA, Florida, and Clemson, Arizona. Those are all. I think that works.
Clemson, Arizona, you said?
Unless I'm missing something.
It seems all right to me.
Yep. Good.
I mean, I definitely do think they're going to prioritize geography this year over avoiding second round matchups, but we'll roll with it. Utah
It's not in the
State.
bylaws.
Well, a bombing
They actually
of
said in
Iran
the
was not in the bylaws either.
they even said in that report with the travel stuff that came out recently that they're not going to sacrifice any of the bylaws, but they'll do everything they can later. Like they'll probably bracket the whole thing and then try to pick out places where they can move and not break any rules.
Yeah.
So I think we should stick to our guns, our typical guns.
All right. Utah State to San Diego makes sense, at least initially.
Mhm.
Iowa would then have to go to Greenville to avoid this stuff. Did they play TCU? I don't think so.
No.
Doesn't sound familiar.
No.
St. Louis.
A&M's got to go Midwest, yeah.
Yeah, and then A&M, Miami, Florida. That all looks okay.
Yep.
All right. 10 line. Ohio State, Missouri, UCF, and Texas. Where do I have Texas? There they are. All right. 10 line, Ohio State would probably go Georgia. Little football matchup there. Missouri and Texas are going to have to go here and here.
Okay, they're going to go OKC and Buffalo.
Yeah. Little Texas to Villanova and UCF. Kentucky, UCF. I wonder who's going to pick UCF in that game. Literally nobody.
I don't know. Kentucky haters. So like, I feel like half their fans hate their team. They're going to pick UCF in their own bracket.
Oh, Rocco, you should hear the call-in shows around here.
Oh, it's awesome.
I
appreciate the passion.
If that worked out that way, that pod would be insane. I mean, that pod would be bumping. Kentucky, Illinois, and Iowa State all in St. Louis. They would have no problem with tickets in that.
They won't anyway.
Yeah,
they won't
the only caveat would be is whether they would at some point adjust because last year and swap Kentucky and Georgia.
Who played who last year?
Illinois and Kentucky played last year in the second.
Oh yeah, they would switch. They're supposed to switch that by the book unless it's something for ratings.
First
we caught that one,
not second round.
Well, we caught that. No, it's any rematch in the NCAA tournament in the bylaws. But the one last year with Kentucky, I'm sorry, not Kentucky, Arkansas, Kansas first round. They played each other 2 tournaments ago, and they broke the rule for TV. But that was 2 years before, not the year before. So
yeah, because they played. Illinois was
no, Arkansas and Kansas played in 2023.
Yeah, it was 2 years before. Yeah, and the rule is 2 years, the last 2 tournaments.
But they also, I mean, they've also done Michigan, Montana multiple years in a row too. But
yeah, I mean, I'd say it doesn't matter to me here. I don't know how strict they actually watch that. If it's
sometimes they just don't catch it. Sometimes they do it like this, and then if nobody catches it, they just move forward.
Because don't they have a computer program or something that's supposed to like catch all that stuff?
They are, yeah. I think it's pretty good now, but that's why I think the folks at Turner and CBS made sure that Kansas still played Arkansas last year because one of the bracketologists out there on the internet went and retraced their steps and kind of caught them. Should have been, Marquette, New Mexico. They were like in the mix. I'm trying to remember. It was all documented.
Yeah, it's DJ Bauer. Bauer always does the rewind of what they did.
Yep, and that was a great call out by him. Not saying I have any problem with it, but it's their own rules they're breaking, so it's just interesting. And and I'm competitive with it. I want to have a bracket that can match theirs, and if they go off and do something like that, you have no chance.
So I think our only option at this point, because they'll try to avoid sending a play-in game to Portland, especially with Greenville right there.
Yep.
And we're gonna, as best we can, we want to avoid putting an ACC team here against Louisville. So I think the only option is a Louisville, Miami, Ohio race to 140.
That's a great game.
And then probably NC State going here to Portland. And then even though it would be right, they'll rearrange these. They wouldn't have SMU against Virginia Tech. It would be VCU, SMU, and then Santa Clara, Virginia Tech.
That's fine.
And I don't think it matters which one goes where, really.
No.
Just as an FYI, 2026 principles and procedures. If possible, rematches from the previous tournament should be avoided in the first 4 and the first round, so they don't go beyond first round.
Correct. Yeah, but last year's game was a first round game.
Yeah, I agree with you. They broke it last year.
Yeah.
But
I remember that it's
consideration.
They'll say, like, if we can, we'll avoid a second round matchup from regular season,
I see.
as well as a second round
Graham.
matchup of previous matchups. But
again,
sorry, Graham. You're talking about
teams,
Illinois, Kentucky. Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, that's what I was talking.
But are you gonna? I don't know that they would move a team like way out of the way just to avoid a second round rematch that they played in the regular season. I don't know that they would do that.
Gavitt already said that they're expecting to do that a lot more this year, so I think they're prepared to cover on that one.
He's covering his tracks, but
he said they're going to do what more, Graham?
They're prepared to do a lot more non-conference rematches in the second round this year compared to what they usually do.
Well, maybe they're kind of figuring what
their
it's going to look like, and they're already figuring out they're going to have a bunch of them.
I think the reality is they're just not going to move a lot of teams around to try to make it work. If they're like, you know what, if it's easy to avoid it, we're going to avoid it. If it's like a redo the whole bracket, they have no desire to do that.
Last shot for BU here.
Hey, is South Florida hosting the Tampa Regional? Are they allowed to go there?
They're hosting. They can't go there.
Not allowed to go to Tampa.
They can't go there.
Okay. So they would go to Philly.
San Diego State can't go to San Diego either.
Yeah. Yale would go to Tampa. Or High Point is like always going way out west.
Villanova can go to Philly, correct? Because they did not play. I think they only played one game there this year.
No, they played a lot more than one. Isn't the rule 3? Yeah, they played more than 3. They play like half their Big East games there.
No, I think they moved most of Finneran this year because of that. I got to check.
Yeah, whenever it's in Philly, they usually only play 3 at
Gotta check. I think.
Okay, so maybe they did 3 on purpose then.
Let me see.
Call me out if you catch any rematches in any of this.
Well, the good news is I don't know about any.
I know St. John's played him at the 76ers one.
They played 2, it looks like.
Okay, good call on that.
Oh, no, 3. No, they played 3. UConn, St. John's, and Penn in the Big 5 final.
Yeah. I think that's allowed. Yeah.
They can go. I don't think the bracket's going to set up for them to get there, but.
What? Kansas, North Dakota State?
Boston University.
Oh, at the buzzer. Wow. That's rough for Navy. Whoo, boy.
Oh, my goodness. You are on it.
This is March. So Navy's out. Who replaces them?
Well, it's a tie game, right? Or did somebody hit a buzzer? Mike.
No, they won.
Hit a 3-pointer
Boston
to
won.
win the game. At
Lehigh replaces them, Kerry.
And he got it off too. It's over.
No.
Wait, Graham, I missed it. How did they get the ball back? I thought Navy had the ball with 8 seconds.
Navy had the ball with 8 seconds left. Go down, scores 2 points. Colgate runs down, hits a 3.
Oh, they went quick.
It's not Colgate, it's Boston.
Oh, I meant to say, I don't know why I said Colgate. I meant to say Boston, but
it's all good.
That's to your point, Anthony. Like, I don't think I would have tried to give them any chance to get a shot.
No, I agree. You can't give them time. Just take the last shot and go to overtime if it doesn't work. Well, there's going to be some time left here, no? Maybe a second?
No, it's going to be like 0.1 or 0.2, in which case they can't do anything because it has to be a tip-in. So maybe they could try to draw a foul.
Just like poor St. Thomas last night.
This is worse though. Navy had a hell of a year. They've won like 25 out of the last 26.
Oh, you know what else too? If you watch it, they didn't start the game clock on time. Watch that replay. The game clock did not start
That's
right away.
that's reviewable.
So they'll get the shot off, but there's going to be like no time left.
So that's good for the Terriers.
How late did they get it off? Because if possible, if it's really late, then they can always actually call game over before the shot even goes off.
No, he got the 3 off in time. It wasn't that much. They definitely, probably a half a second or so, maybe close to a second that they waited to start. I would think they still got it off.
Yeah, I don't know about you, but while Carrie's filling in these spots here, it's been much easier this year to not run into like rematches, putting like these 14s and 15s.
I don't know. Maybe he didn't get it off. Sorry, Dave.
It's because they know who's going to be good now in the summer, Dave, so they don't schedule any of those teams. But it might change when we get some surprise champions because those teams were more likely to get bought.
I was just saying it. Usually I run to at least one or two, like, some 15 or some 14 or some 13 seed played somebody.
Yep. Bethune-Cookman in Arizona has been the big one this year for me.
But I always figured that, Arizona won't get one of the play-in games because they're going to try to avoid shipping somebody all the way out to San Diego.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You'd think.
Florida.
They shipped Indiana to Portland a couple years ago. Or sorry, it was the Indiana playing game, right?
But will they though? Because they're gonna have to ship somebody out there anyways, right?
Well, what I was going to say is like though, but not on the Tuesday, Thursday. So like if you can avoid one of the Dayton 16 seeds, if they can ship them, if they have options to ship them to,
they will.
Greenville, because Tampa's a Friday, so Florida's probably going to end up, even though if they're the lowest 1 seed, they're going to probably get one of the play-in winners because it's just easier logistically.
All right. Does anybody see any illegal pairings here? I think we might be set, but I probably missed a 15 seed.
The only thing is Central Arkansas is
they're about to lose. But
that's only down one now.
Well, point game.
It's close. It's 25
Cameron
seconds.
Hunter, holy shit.
I'll leave it. Well, you can make that change later. There'll be a whole bunch of changes probably on
All right.
That line, yes.
Boys good. I love that UConn Lehigh matchup. As a Duke fan. Purdue, Nebraska, Iowa State, Gonzaga.
Rocco, I asked Kerry this the other day. I know he's going. Are you going to be at the Final Four?
Yeah, I'll be there. Yep. For a good week or so.
Okay.
Will I see you there?
Well, I will. I'm thinking about, because I'm only about hour and 40 minutes from Lucas Oil, so I probably maybe come up for Final Four Friday. Probably won't have tickets for the Final Four, but
yeah. I usually go to like a watch party on Saturday, and then I try to get a ticket on Monday for the championship. That way I don't have to work the media stuff, and I can just hang out with coaches and guys like you, Dave.
Wait,
I won't have any media. I won't have any media credentials. I would just be like at the arena on Friday or hobnobbing around the convention center.
Awesome. Yeah, I'll be down there. Yep.
If I end up going, I'll give you guys a text.
Yeah, absolutely. Please do.
Watch the end of this game for sure. While I make sure I don't have any illegal pairings.
That was
It'll actually be really interesting to see if they pair up Howard and Bethune. I feel like they've really tried to avoid pitting the SWAC and the MEAC against each other in previous years, but
they did it a couple. They did it a couple years ago.
Yeah, they did it.
I know
they've
they
done
did.
it
I know they
several
have
times.
recently. I just feel like they've had a lot of opportunities to do it, and it seems like they've tried to avoid it at all costs.
The nice thing is that if they do it, one of those
Someone
leagues
gets through.
Right.
gets the
Yeah.
money.
Howard's solid. I mean, they're not a bad team.
I think they're above the first four. Howard is. They have a road win at Wilmington.
They won at Trask. Wow,
Yeah, they did.
I don't remember that.
I'll double check it was there. I know they beat them. I'm pretty sure it was at Trask.
Hunters of God.
Yeah, it was at Trask. Confirmed.
That's a great win. Wow.
Is that 43 points for him?
What a play. Goodness.
See, these are the teams that I want to see get in. Like I
Yeah,
picked
Graham, that's-
Hofstra because I
Graham,
want to
that's what
see
I thought.
Cruz Davis get in.
I thought they would try to avoid that, but yeah. Why can't I get back on this thing?
Graham, you can just say things. You don't have to privately text us.
Yeah, I mean, I think recently they've shown that they would put the MEAC and the SWAC against each other. But obviously, to your point, Anthony, that was not happening for a long time.
I think now that it's about getting that money for them, guarantee at least one of them something. He didn't get that off. He also didn't hit the backboard.
You know, it was interesting in that
Overtime in the ASUN championship.
Yep.
in that local mock thing I did yesterday for some people here.
Yeah.
And this was before any results from yesterday. They voted Cincinnati into the first four. And I had beat Miami of Ohio, and they voted Miami of Ohio in, and they had Miami of Ohio and Cincinnati playing each other in Dayton in the first four. That'd be pretty wild, wouldn't it?
Well, based on the discourse on Twitter, that would actually be one of the most phenomenal. I think social media would spontaneously combust because I feel like it's the Cincinnati fans that have been most against Miami of Ohio for some reason.
Well, I mean,
Very vocal about it.
if you're really looking for best drama ever, Auburn making a bit of a run in the SEC tournament to match up with Miami, who loses in the MAC in Dayton, is, I mean, the TV ratings would be off the charts. It would be the best TV rated first four game of all time. And also, Dave's Cameron went stuck again with another gigantic smile on his face. Unbelievable. Uncanny, Dave.
I lost him. I don't think even that. I don't think Miami, Ohio, Auburn would beat the Michigan State UCLA game from a couple years ago. But it'd be an all timer.
I don't know. My connection must be getting goofy today. So,
Kerry, that's a sneaky good matchup with Virginia and Northern Iowa. That's the Paul Jesperson special.
Well, it was
Last
either that
time
or the
Northern Iowa
Ali
was
Farouk
in the
Manesh
dance.
special.
So
Each
are
for the
we all
each.
set on this, Kerry, on the bracket?
I think so.
Yep.
I checked them to make sure they're all legal.
Yeah, they look pretty good. That feels easier than it should have been, but
Nice work, gentlemen.
yep.
Yeah. All right.
All right, we'll all watch the Central Arkansas. Watch Cameron Hunter go for 50 in. Man. Well, this is our final product, final quote unquote. I don't know that I'm going to have time to, get back together and do a scrub on Sunday, but
Probably not.
No.
I mean, we can try, but I would say it's unlikely.
Yeah, I wouldn't worry about it.
So this will
I'll be
probably
toast for that, unfortunately.
it. Yeah, I don't sleep all week really, but all right. So you see there what we've got. The final product will end up looking nothing like this after conference tournament week, but I think the seeding overall will be pretty close to the same. Just a lot of things will shuffle around because of one small change.
Yeah.
As it always is.
Well,
But
I appreciate you and Graham hosting, because it's always a good exercise. I enjoy hearing other opinions, because when you do this so much, you get stuck in your own head sometimes. So
yes. Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah.
It's fun. Well, thank you guys for doing it.
Always a
Thank
pleasure,
you
guys.
on the YouTube world for joining us. This was fun. Same time next year.